It's 1692, and the morning mist clings to Salem's cobblestones like whispered secrets. A young woman named Bridget Bishop adjusts her red bodice, a fashion choice that will seal her fate. Little does she know that her love of vibrant colors and independent spirit will mark her as the first to die in America's most infamous witch hunt. But Salem was just one thread in a tapestry of human obsession with the diabolical that spans continents and centuries, and continues today in ways we barely recognize. Blood on the cobblestones, Jersey's forgotten terror, 1560s to 1660s. Long before Salem's gallows cast their shadow, the windswept Channel Islands harbored a darker secret. In Jersey, where the Atlantic winds carry salt and sorrow, local magistrates discovered that fear could be weaponized. The crack of the whip echoed through stone corridors as whipped till the blood comes became not just punishment, but spectacle. Imagine Marie Lefebvre, a healer who knew which herbs could ease a fever and which could poison. In a world where knowledge itself was suspect, her garden of remedies became evidence of her guilt. The psychological terror wasn't just physical. It was the systematic destruction of community trust. Neighbor turning against neighbor with accusations that could never be truly proven or disproven. The clergy and magistrates held the ultimate power, the ability to define reality itself. They transformed everyday expertise into supernatural threat, turning the community's healers into its greatest dangers. Sound familiar? The mechanics of accusation, public shaming, and social exile remain eerily consistent across centuries. Bridget Bishop's red bodice wasn't just clothing. It was a declaration of independence in a world that demanded conformity. When Reverend Samuel Parris's daughter and niece began their mysterious fits, pointing accusatory fingers at women who dared to be different, they unleashed something far more terrifying than any supernatural force: the power of mass hysteria. The smell of fear sweat in the packed meeting house. The creak of hemp rope. The way Bridget's red fabric caught the morning light as she walked to Gallows Hill. Her head held high despite knowing she would never see another sunset. Tituba, the enslaved woman from Barbados, understood the game better than anyone. Her dramatic confessions weren't admissions of guilt. They were masterful performances that saved her life while condemning others. She transformed powerlessness into survival, using the very stereotypes that enslaved her to navigate a system designed to destroy her. Joan of Arc's crime wasn't witchcraft. It was audacity. A peasant girl who dared to speak truth to power, who claimed divine mandate while wearing men's clothing. Bishop Pierre Cauchon needed her silence not because she consorted with demons, but because she threatened the very foundation of male ecclesiastical authority. Joan's final moments weren't about supernatural terror, they were about political expediency. Her screams weren't from demonic possession, but from the very real flames that would consume her flesh. The true horror lay in how easily religious fervor could be weaponized for political gain. In the Siege of Kaffa, the Mongols discovered something more terrifying than any supernatural curse: the power to weaponize death itself. Picture the scene: bloated, plague-ridden corpses catapulted over fortress walls, not as mere psychological warfare, but as calculated biological weapons. This wasn't superstition. This was the birth of a new kind of evil. The traders who fled Kaffa carried more than goods. They carried death to every port. The Black Death didn't just kill bodies. It killed the medieval world itself, creating a social upheaval that would reshape Europe forever. Blood has always held power. From the heart-wrenching sacrifices of the Aztecs to the ritualistic offerings of ancient Egypt, human sacrifice occurred around 5,000 years ago during Egypt's early history, with human sacrifices found by the graves of early pharaohs at Abydos. Picture servants willingly or unwillingly following their god-kings into eternity, their blood soaking into desert sand as a bridge between worlds. The Aztec Heart Harvest. Imagine the Templo Mayor in Tenochtitlan, where obsidian blades carved through human chests and still-beating hearts were offered to Huitzilopochtli, the god of war. The screams weren't just of pain. They were prayers made flesh, communion with the divine through ultimate sacrifice. Charles S. Allison traces blood sacrifices as far back as the Babylonians, Canaanites, and ancient nomadic rituals, where the crimson flow was believed to appease angry deities and ensure survival of the tribe. The ritual wasn't just about death. It was about control, community, and the desperate human need to make meaning from chaos. The 1980s brought a new kind of hysteria, one that didn't require actual witches, just the fear of them. But the satanic panic was merely a preview of what was to come. Today, we don't burn witches, we cancel them. The accusation alone smears the accused as guilty, and the denounced party has no way to. The fervor with which the public seeks to cancel them bears a striking resemblance to historical witch hunts, medieval public executions, and systematic feminicides. Social media platforms become our village squares, where public shaming unfolds in real time before audiences of millions. Cancel culture presents a striking similarity to the outlawry of medieval times, where those deemed guilty were cast out from society, their very existence rendered invisible. The mechanics remain identical: accusation, public trial, social exile. The new accusers. Nobody wakes up in the morning, stretches out, and says, "Ah, what a glorious day to ruin someone's life." Or do they? The mob doesn't see itself as cruel. It sees itself as righteous, just as the Salem accusers believed they were doing God's work. In glass towers and open-plan offices, new rituals have emerged that would make medieval inquisitors proud. Across societies and time, people have initiated new members into their groups through ceremonies and rituals designed to foster a feeling of belonging. But belonging to what exactly? Hazing is typically associated with student organizations such as university fraternities and sororities, but similar degrading, humiliating, or dangerous tasks and behaviors occur in corporate settings. The tradition of making newcomers earn their place through humiliation persists in boardrooms and break rooms. Any form of initiation or congratulatory act that involves physically striking or threatening to do the same, pinning or tacking on any object into another person's skin, oral or written berating of another person with the purpose of belittling or humiliating. These practices haven't disappeared. They've simply moved from medieval guilds to modern corporations. The ritual of belonging: pass out gift cards, order pizzas, give out certificates of appreciation, make special t-shirts, create a celebration dance or rap. Anything that is celebratory and appreciated by the team. Even positive workplace rituals echo ancient tribal ceremonies designed to bind individuals to the group. In our pockets, we carry crystal balls more powerful than any medieval soothsayer could imagine. We consult algorithms for love matches, career advice, and life decisions. We've replaced tarot cards with recommendation engines, but the fundamental human need for supernatural guidance remains unchanged. The new priesthood. Tech executives have become our modern oracles, their algorithms determining who we meet, what we see, what we believe. The power to shape reality through information control echoes the authority once held by medieval clergy. Digital seances. We commune with the dead through social media profiles, receiving memories from deceased friends as if they were messages from beyond. The boundary between the living and digital afterlife blurs in ways that would fascinate ancient necromancers. The secret ceremonies, lesser-known global practices. While tourists flock to famous festivals, countless rituals unfold in shadows, known only to initiates and anthropologists brave enough to document them. The finger cutters of Indonesia. The Dani tribe in Papua cut off their fingers as a way of expressing grief and pain for the loss of a loved one. The finger is tied with a string and then chopped off with an axe. The severed finger is then burned or buried. Pain becomes prayer, mutilation becomes memorial. The living bridges. From living bridges woven out of tree roots to funeral celebrations that turn mourning into a dance. These traditions reveal how deeply culture shapes human life. In northeast India, the Khasi people grow bridges from the roots of rubber trees, creating living architecture that grows stronger with time. The sin eaters of Wales. In medieval Wales, professional sin eaters would consume bread and ale over a corpse, literally eating the deceased's sins to ensure their passage to heaven. These human scapegoats carried the spiritual burden of entire communities. The bullet ant initiation. In the Amazon, Satirma boys must endure the sting of bullet ants, insects whose bite feels like being shot, for 10 minutes without crying out. The ritual, repeated multiple times, transforms boys into men through shared agony. Beneath the surface of modern life, ancient practices thrive in unexpected places. From urban shamans charging $500 for cleansing rituals to tech billionaires consulting astrologers before major decisions, the supernatural economy never disappeared. It simply went underground. Silicon Valley shamans. Tech executives regularly consult spiritual advisors, using ancient divination methods to make billion-dollar decisions. The same minds that create artificial intelligence still seek guidance from crystal balls and tea leaves. Corporate exorcisms. Major corporations hire feng shui consultants to arrange office spaces, spiritual cleansers to reset the energy after layoffs, and even exorcists to handle haunted properties. The business of banishing demons has never been more lucrative. Medical miracles. In hospitals worldwide, families perform secret rituals while doctors work. Holy water sprinkled on 4 bags, prayer circles in waiting rooms, traditional healers working alongside surgeons. The boundaries between medicine and magic blur in moments of desperation. Every generation creates new ways to mark the transition from child to adult, from outsider to insider. These modern initiations may lack the drama of ancient blood rituals, but they serve the same psychological purpose. Social media baptisms. Teenagers undergo elaborate coming-of-age rituals on social platforms. The Sweet 16 party live-streamed to hundreds. The prom dress reveal that must garner thousands of likes. The validation of the digital tribe has replaced the approval of village elders. Consumer initiation. First car, first apartment, first credit card. These purchases function as rites of passage, each transaction marking a new level of adult responsibility. The ritual of debt has replaced the ritual of blood. Academic hazing. Events included head shaving, being sprayed with paint used to mark stock, drinking vodka from a pig's head, and bobbing for apples in a mixture of urine and alcohol. University initiation ceremonies continue ancient traditions of humiliation and endurance, supposedly building character through degradation. Ancient walnut trees and modern festivals. Benevento's transformation from genuine witchcraft center to tourist destination mirrors a global trend. The sacred becomes commodity. Mystery becomes marketing opportunity. Spiritual tourism. Ayahuasca retreats in Costa Rica charge thousands for authentic spiritual experiences. Ancient shamanic practices become luxury vacation packages, complete with Instagram-worthy ceremonies and five-star accommodations. Mystical merchandise. Crystals mined by underpaid workers. Sage harvested to near extinction. Tarot decks mass-produced in Chinese factories. The tools of spirituality have become just another consumer category. The authenticity paradox. The more we commercialize ancient practices, the less authentic they become. Yet the human hunger for genuine spiritual experience only grows stronger, creating an endless cycle of seeking and consuming. Blood sacrifice never truly ended, it simply evolved. From ancient altars to modern emergency rooms, we continue to offer our life force in exchange for hope, healing, and transformation. Medical sacrifice, blood donation, organ transplantation, experimental treatments. Modern medicine is built on the willing sacrifice of the healthy for the sick. The same impulse that drove ancient people to offer blood to gods now drives us to offer it to science. Economic sacrifice. We sacrifice our time, our health, our relationships on the altar of career advancement. The modern workplace demands offerings just as demanding as any ancient deity. Nights, weekends, family time poured out in hope of promotion and prosperity. Digital sacrifice. We offer our privacy, our data, our attention to tech companies in exchange for connection and convenience. Every click, every share, every like is a small sacrifice to the algorithms that shape our digital lives. Modern witch trials highlights worrying aspects of so-called cancel culture and group justice mentality. We must do more to promote diversity of thought and independent thinking to save social media from continuing to be used as a weapon for retribution. The speed of accusation. What took weeks in Salem now happens in hours online. A single tweet, a moment of poor judgment, a joke taken out of context. Careers can be destroyed faster than Bridget Bishop could adjust her red bodice. The permanence of shame. Medieval stocks and pillories were temporary punishments. Digital shame is forever, archived in search engines and screenshot collections. The scarlet letter has become a digital tattoo, impossible to remove. Salem's accusations were limited by geography and communication speed. Today's mob can reach anyone, anywhere, instantly. The village square has become worldwide, the power of collective condemnation amplified beyond medieval imagining. The medieval confessional booth has been replaced by the Instagram story, the TikTok video, the tell-all memoir. We still need to confess our sins, to seek absolution from the crowd, to transform shame into story. Public figures undergo ritual humiliation and redemption cycles that mirror ancient religious practices. The fallen celebrity must confess, show remorse, perform penance, and pray for forgiveness from the digital congregation. Personal pain becomes social media content, therapy sessions become podcast episodes, mental health struggles become brand positioning. The most intimate human experiences are commodified and consumed. We seek validation from likes, shares, and comments, digital forms of the absolution once granted by priests. The algorithm becomes our confessor, determining whose stories deserve attention and whose pain earns sympathy. As we peer into the future, what new forms will humanity's ancient impulses take? What will our descendants think of our current rituals, our digital witch hunts, our algorithmic oracles? AI exorcism. As artificial intelligence becomes more sophisticated, will we need new rituals to banish digital demons? Will we perform exorcisms on corrupted algorithms, hold funeral services for deleted programs? Virtual reality rituals. Immersive technology will allow us to experience ancient ceremonies firsthand. We might walk the streets of Salem, participate in Aztec sacrifices, witness medieval executions, all from the safety of our living rooms. The metaverse mob, virtual worlds will create new forms of social ostracism and digital persecution. Avatar shaming, virtual property destruction, and digital exile will become the new forms of community punishment. Genetic divination. As we unlock the secrets of DNA, will genetic testing become the new form of fortune-telling? Will we consult our chromosomes instead of crystal balls? Seek the future in our genes rather than the stars? The devil we know. From Jersey's blood-soaked stones to Silicon Valley's server farms, from Salem's gallows to social media's digital pillories, from ancient altars dripping with human sacrifice to modern hospitals where we willingly offer our blood to science. We see the same human impulses playing out across centuries. The need to control the uncontrollable. The desire to find meaning in chaos. The willingness to sacrifice others for our own sense of security. Ritual sacrifice has existed for thousands of years in cultures across the world, and is actually one of the earliest known forms of worship in history. The impulse persists in forms both ancient and modern. The accusation alone smears the accused as guilty, and the denounced party has no way to defend against the charge. Whether the charge is witchcraft or racism, heresy or hate speech, the mechanics remain the same. The tools change, but the hunger for righteousness remains constant. We are the witches. We are the inquisitors. We are the ones who dance with death, who weaponize biology, who turn sacred into commercial, who spill blood for gods both real and imagined. We are the ones who create digital mobs and algorithmic oracles, who sacrifice privacy for convenience and authenticity for acceptance. The real horror isn't in supernatural forces. It's in our capacity to create our own demons, to see evil where there's only difference, to transform fear into action and action into tragedy. These practices persist not because they're effective, but because they're human. The devil we fear most is the one staring back from our own reflection, pumping the same crimson fluid that has been offered to gods and devils throughout our blood-soaked history. And perhaps that's the most diabolical practice of all. Our refusal to recognize that the evil we fear doesn't come from outside forces, but from the very human heart that beats within us all. In the end, we are all Salem. We are all the accused and the accusers, the victims and the mob. Until we recognize this truth, until we see ourselves in both the witch and the witch hunter, we will continue to repeat these patterns, generation after generation, century after century. The hex is not cast upon us, we cast it upon ourselves. The hysteria is not imposed from without, it grows from within. And the high heels we wear as we dance on the graves of the condemned are our own. The tour continues. The practices persist. The devil endures, because the devil is us.